Hey there, algebra. I don't think my sound's turned on. Welcome to Algebra 1. We are in Unit 1, Lesson 1, and Unit 1 is all about one variable statistics. So we start out in algebra with a little unit on statistics. So we're not going to be solving for x. Some students feel that the unit on statistics is a little bit easier. So I would give it your all to get a good grade because it'll cushion Unit 2 is a little more difficult. So if that gives you any incentive to work really hard to get a good grade, I would take it. But let's get started. Statistical, well, our first lesson is getting to know you. And I don't mean like getting to know you. I am going to ask some questions to get to know you, but when we're recording a lesson, it's a little bit harder to actually get to know you. So let me start out with a little bit of pre-vocabulary. If you look what I've drawn on this screen, what makes a question statistical? If I asked you a question, what makes it statistical versus non-statistical? So that's what we're going to learn today. We're also going to learn about classifying data as numerical or categorical. So numerical, I've written in green, means responses to questions that are numbers that can be ordered in a natural way, like a high number and a low number. Things get smaller and then bigger. That's ordered in a natural way. Or categorical, responses to questions that fit into distinct categories, hot and cold, tall and short, curly hair, straight hair, okay, old, young, categorical, all right? All right, so let's jump into this first little which one doesn't belong. And if you see here, let's turn my pen on. What I love about these which one doesn't belong is there's a very easy entry point. You don't have to know anything about math to be able to answer these questions. What's sad about recording a lesson is the discussion isn't as rich because it's you listening to me, not necessarily us talking about it or your classmates talking about it or you talking to your classmates, me talking to you, talking to your class, etc. So I'm going to try to make it rich in a roundabout way. Let's see. So, question A, how many potato chips are in this bag of chips? Question B, what is the typical number of chips in a bag of chips? Question C, what type of chips are these? And question D, what type of chips do students in the class prefer? So, if we look at question A, it is a only one right answer. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh, I can't do this. This is crazy. My pen seems to be having issues, which is super duper annoying. I'm going to slow down. All right. I've done a lot of writing. I don't know why that would be lagging now. Only one right answer. And that answer is numerical. So we're learning some vocabulary. Okay, only one right answer, and the answer is numerical. Question B, what is the typical number of bags in the chips? Sorry, bags of typical number of chips in the bag. This is a statistical question. Generally, if I'm writing it down, you should be writing it down, right? It requires numerical data. You're going to need to collect data. To find the measure of center. Oh my goodness. So frustrating. So for this one, you'd have to collect data to find the measure of center, which is kind of like the average. C, what type of chips? This is not statistical. Statistical. Sometimes I have issues with spelling. And it would require categories. Oh my word. All right, I'm going to pause the video and see if we can fix this. All right, I plugged it in. It's Bluetooth enabled, my little tablet that I used to write with. But let's see if plugging it in helps. If I look at question D, well, still on question C, it's not statistical, categorical data to answer, and there's only one right answer. Okay. Question D, what type of chips do students in this class prefer? This is statistical. It is a statistical question that would require categorical data. So something with categories can be statistical, okay, and this one is. The question could be answered by looking at the answer that's repeated the most often, but it is statistical. So which one doesn't belong? It could be any of them. It could be A, because there's only one right answer. D has only one right answer, not one right answer. No, sorry, D, it's still, you're averaging, or you're talking to the whole class and getting data. B, it's statistical, it's numerical. C is not statistical, categorical. D is statistical and categorical. So lots of different reasons. We need to start learning these vocabulary words though, right? All right, so let's move on. We'll get to this in a minute. Okay, I've already written that. What your work says is representing data about you and your classmates. So, if we were in class together, we would split up into groups and assign questions and take some data. Okay, we can't do that when we're not face to face. So, but it's okay. We will still learn the material in a very rich way, and it'll be all right. So, first of all, I've got lots of different questions. All right, we're going to figure out how to talk about what types of questions gather which types of information. So we will talk about non-statistical questions, we will talk about numerical data, and we'll talk about categorical data. All right, so I'm going to go up here to these questions now. First, let's look at the ones I wrote in black ink. On average, how many letters are in the last names for students in this class? Okay, I already see the term on average. I highlighted the wrong thing. On average. Okay. How many is numerical? On average is statistical. Now, to answer this question, we would take that and we would ask everybody in the room, okay, how many letters are in your last name? And we would write that information down. There's a table in your classwork that we would gather all that information with. And then we would average that, okay? We would add them all up, and divide by the number of people. And we would get one answer. That would tell us, on average, how many letters in the last name for students in this class. Okay, so it's a statistical question, and it's a numerical question, and we would gather that data. Now the next one, which month has the most birthdays from the class? Okay, well this one is categorical. Because I can't get a number answer, but it's also statistical. It is a statistical question, but it's categorical. Okay, there can be a highest, a month that's going to get the most hits, but there's nothing numerical we can do with it. So it's a very statistic question, but we can't number it. We can't do anything. You know, we talked about numerical data being, what's the term? Ordered in a natural way. I can't do anything with that. How many blocks have there been before this math class? It's numerical. But not statistical. Okay, there's one answer. So in your math class, how many blocks were before it? If you have math third block, 2 blocks before it. If you have math fifth block, everybody in the room is going to have 4 blocks before it. So it's not statistical. It is numerical. There's a number assigned to it that could be ordered in a natural way, but it's not statistical. Okay, let's try another example. Let's change pen colors. About how long did it take students in this class to get to school this morning? Okay, about how long? So we are statistical. And numerical. Okay, we would numerical. All right, with this one we would poll the class. We would ask everybody in the class, how long did it take you? And then we would take all that data and average it together. We would find the average time it took for students. And then, you know, that time is numerical. We could order the time in a natural way, things like that. Which combination does the class prefer? Peanut butter and banana, or strawberry and banana? I'm thinking smoothies, not sandwiches. And again, this is categorical. It's also statistical. You're going to talk to everybody and see which one is the most statistic. I have a very difficult time spelling that word. Okay, what is the lightest element from the periodic table? If you're taking your algebra class in the chemistry room, you're going to look at the wall and see like, oh, there's the periodic table. Which one's the lightest? So it's not statistical because there's one correct answer. And I would say it's not numerical because you're going to get an element for an answer. Okay, that's awful spelling, numerical. So we can see statistical, numerical for question 1, statistical, numerical for question 1. Categorical, statistical for question 2, categorical, statistical for question 2. Numerical, not statistical. Question 3, not statistical. I would say that's not numerical unless you're actually looking at the what the weight is of that element, okay? All right, so summarize the data for each question in a sentence or two. We did that. With your group, decide what responses for question number 1 have in common, and we did that. Question 2, question 3, we did that. Okay, they're just written up above. We don't need to use the table. All All right, the last thing I want to do, because there are only 2 student task statements, I want to show in your classwork is this lesson summary. In this lesson summary, it's very important for you to go to the lesson summary and review. What is numerical data? What is categorical data? Okay? What is the difference between a statistical question and a non-statistical question? Okay, we see words like average, favorite, okay? The average would produce numerical data. The favorite would produce categorical data. Non-statistical questions, because they're answered by collecting data that does not vary. Okay, that's important. Statistical questions, we have variability. All right, non-statistical questions, we have no variability. All right, for the non-statistical, we can still get numerical answers, but it doesn't vary. We can still get categorical answers, but they don't vary. All right, so this page is really important. That's basically it. All right, that's it for today. We'll start lesson 2 next time. Thanks.